I am going to give you an overview of week 2 skills in practice activities. So if you give me a moment, I'll share my screen and get the outline up. Alrighty, so I'm just going to scroll up and find the overview for this week. Here you go. Alrighty, so on to session 2. Let me make it a little bit bigger. So on the purple, so week 2, your icebreaker is in your group, share your favorite book, movie, TV show, and why. So yeah, think about what your favorite is. You might have one, you might have a few, that's okay. Share it with your group, have a chat about it. You might even get some recommendations, some things to watch over the weekend or read. You're then going to move straight into practicing ACT, and you're going to practice session 1. So before you get started in your role play, you might want to take some time to think about writing a script on how you would describe ACT, how you would explain it to your client as part of your session work. So you might do this as a group, you might do it individually, whatever you do is okay, just make sure it makes sense for you. So remember, in this first session, you don't have to be demonstrating any particular ACT techniques. It could just be using your foundational person-centered skills and giving an overview of ACT and why or how that might be useful for this person. And that can be it for session 1. And then in your subsequent session, session 2 and 3, you can start to introduce some specific ACT techniques. So for this session, for practicing ACT session 1, you're going to be using some case studies. So you can see here there's a link, the case studies for role play. Again, take some time to read through them and pick one that you think you can do justice in a role play. You don't need to do it perfectly or know everything about that presentation. You don't need to stick to the script exactly, but I guess it just gives you something, some kind of content to use that's suitable for ACT and that allows you to not get too involved in the role play as a person. That could be quite draining week in, week out. So use the case studies, but take some time in your role as client to prep. So read through the case study and figure out how am I going to use this in a session to help my student counsellor demonstrate their skills. So you're going to aim for 20-minute sessions, 25-minute sessions using ACT principles. As always, make sure you switch roles so that each group member has an opportunity to be a counsellor, client, observer. And it says here, use the therapist checklist to guide your feedback. So when you're in the observer role, you can use this link here, the therapist checklist, to help you structure your feedback or to kind of identify what ACT skills the counsellor is using. So for this particular session, there might not be any of those skills on the checklist, and that's okay. Because like I said, it's session 1, so all you might be doing is an overview, and that's okay. If that's all you feel comfortable using, totally fine. Just do that. But that is there for you if needed. Again, don't put pressure on people to tick things off. It's really just there to help you identify what's being used, if any. And then once you've finished your role as client, remember to de-role. So get some distance between you as a person and the person you're role playing as client. And you can do that by naming 3 ways in which you're different from the person in the case study. So you'll each have a turn. See how you go for time. If you want to get a second session in, you can. I don't know how you'll go though, given that they're 20-25-minute sessions with time for debrief. And you might want to fit in a break sometime in there as well. And then to close, you're going to share how you're feeling about using ACT as a therapy. And then all groups return to the main lecture room at 2 o'clock to debrief. So within the skills in practice, within your small group work, as always, please feel free to reach out to Marie or myself if you have questions, want some observation, want some feedback, and we'll pop into your rooms. We won't pop in unannounced though, so make sure you tag us or message us if you want us there. Also, if you feel like there's questions but they're not urgent and you want to talk about it as a big group, write them down and bring them back to the debrief at 2. Cool. that's it for this week. Also, just another side note, if you want to add in there doing some research or reading more about some of those Russ Harris techniques or skills that we looked at on Tuesday, please do that as well. So do what you need to do to make sure you feel confident in applying your ACT skills. I don't want to overwhelm you though. So if you just want to stick with the giving an overview for this week, that's fine. But again, use this time for what you see is most useful. If you want to go that extra step and be looking at a specific technique, go for it. It's up to you. All right. Have fun.